Well, thank you all for joining us. I know a lot of you were in Blacksburg yesterday, so appreciate you hopping on a Sunday afternoon to preview the season opener. We will just go ahead and jump right into questions. If you want to use the raise hand feature, I'll call on everybody and we'll go ahead and get started. If anyone wants to go ahead and just start us off. Yeah, Matt, go ahead.
Hey, Pat, just from watching the film from the Kansas and Bucknell games, what do you think was the biggest thing you took away from those respective film sessions?
A lot of things. I mean, that's what exhibition games are for, is to really, see your team against somebody else and evaluate both ends of the floor, offense and defense, and evaluate individual performances, strengths and weaknesses of our team, strengths and weaknesses of individuals, and then clean a bunch of stuff up. So, in the Kansas game, we had too many turnovers and we fouled too much. I felt like in the Bucknell game, things we had to clean up. We still we got to defend without fouling better. Early in the year, the whistle's really tight, and there's a lot of points of emphasis on freedom of movement and those type things. And then a lot of times when you get into conference play, that stuff goes out the window. But and South Carolina State's going to really challenge us in that regard. They're one of the best in the country last year in their system of getting fouled. So we got to do a good job of keeping them off the free throw line. They're a terrific offensive rebounding team. And then, they really force you to have great ball security and value the basketball because they're very, very good at turning you over. So, we've addressed everything in those two games, and I could go on and on. I mean, transition defense was something that every team in the country, emphasizes. Obviously, we've got to be great in that. Guarding the ball, guarding without fouling, being better in our gaps, improving our pick and roll defense. So, we really went back to the basics and addressed everything, just like everybody is.
Brooks, go ahead.
Yeah, hey, Pat. I saw on Thursday that there was a report that Kasean was going to be ruled out of this game tomorrow. I'm just wondering, you call this a process for him, where he is in that process here entering the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, he's just building up. His return to play has been going on, for several weeks, gaining more confidence in that thing, getting back into the flow. Those were the two things. Like, he's been cleared medically to play, and it's getting him, to the point where he's really trusting that thing. And then he's just back in a rhythm and back in a flow from a basketball standpoint. We don't want to put him out there until he's truly ready. When that is, I can't tell yet. I don't know where that report came from. I didn't say that. I just said that we're continuing to monitor him, and we're continuing to monitor him and get him up to speed, and then get him out there as soon as we feel like he's ready.
Brooks, if you've got another one, go ahead, or Matt.
Yeah, I can go ahead. That was Jeff Goodman that had that out on Twitter on Thursday. PK. Question about just what you've seen so far from a Khani as he enters his second season. I thought he was a spark in both the games in the past couple weeks. Just your thoughts with him heading into his second full season.
Yeah, I agree. He's played really well, and he's been a spark for us in both games, for sure.
Matt, go ahead.
Pat, you mentioned how entering your first season last year, especially ahead of that first exhibition, you were a little bit nervous for your first time at the Yum Center. Heading into into a year two, what's your mentality mindset at now in terms of like nervousness? Are you just ready to get the season going, or what's that? Where are you mentally now that basketball is actually back?
I mean, if you don't have some butterflies before a game, you're not a true competitor. If I'm in my 50th year of coaching, and, I'm kicking off the season, you're always going to have a little butterflies, and doesn't matter who it is, every game, it's that anxious, nervous energy. And it's kind of a really lonely existence when you're a head coach, because you you're kind of back there behind the scenes. The team's out there getting juiced up by the crowd and feeling the energy and the warm up and stuff like that. So those moments leading up to tip off aren't my favorite, just because I want to get out there and get going. So, I think a little bit of butterflies are good for a competitor.
William McDermott.
Hey, Pat, thanks for the time. I'm curious, in the 2-game sample size over the exhibitions, was that 3-point rate kind of what you guys expect to have on a game-to-game basis over the course of the season? Or was that more so just, it being the first 2 games and trying to figure things out?
I mean, we hunt great, and if great presents himself, then we're going to take them. We never talk about shooting threes. We never talk about shooting a certain number. We never talk about a 3-point rate that we want to hit. We value, touching the paint, playing on the attack way more, putting foul pressure on the defense, attacking the rim, and then doing what the game tells you. If the help comes and the spray's open, you spray it. And if that one's not great, then you move it quickly. And we just try to stay consistent in terms of what we're hunting. And that's great. That's highly efficient shots. We want free throws. We want to be able to score at the rim, and we want to be able to score from 3. And our system is all built around generating those.
Jody. Jody,
I think you might be on mute.
Yeah, I wasn't. I thought I wasn't. So, all right, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm curious about Javon's role. A guy that comes back and a guy that he's played so many games, and kind of what you see him, maybe not even basketball wise, but just as a leader with this group, how important kind of he is, to what you guys want to do this year.
Yeah, no doubt. All the things that we truly value in qualities that a player has to have, Javon's all about those things. But, somebody mentioned Khani before. Khani's the same way. I mean, keep naming everybody on our team, but, he's about others. He's about his teammates. He takes pride in being a leader on our team, and he was one of the guys elected captain. We always say we value toughness. He's tough. We value competitiveness. He's competitive as all get out. Basketball IQ, a smart player that is always on his assignments, and he makes people around him better. That's what we want a Louisville basketball player to be about. Be about the team, be tough, be competitive, be a guy that can think the game and execute, and then make people around you better. And that kind of describes Javon.
David Hendren.
Hey, Coach. Just wanted your assessment on Kobe Rodgers and Ali Khalifa, with them kind of sitting out last year and them getting some real game action against teammates that aren't against themselves. So just kind of their assessment so far in their performances.
Yeah, I think they've done a great job. I mean, you talk about 3 guys coming off injuries in Kobe, Ali, and they were way ahead of Kasean. Kasean was a little bit behind those guys, but and Kasean will be getting out there soon and being under those lights, playing in real games against other people. It's just good to knock some of the rust off. I remember, Ali telling me, I forget which game it was, but when he really felt it was when what it was the Kansas game, and the student, the doors hadn't opened to let the students in. And we were out there warming up, and then all the students, like the sea of students, came rushing into the student section. And he was like, he goes, that's when it hit me that I'm back, and I think that's what it is. And it'll be the same thing for Kasean too, just to smell the popcorn, right? We all walk into the arena on game night, you smell that popcorn, you got those butterflies that I talked about a little bit ago. And then you go out there and you hit somebody, or somebody hits you. Quarterbacks, football players talk about that all the time. Sometimes they just need a little stinking contact. They need to get popped once, and then it's like your competitive juices start flowing, and you can only truly get that in a game setting.
Russ Brown.
Might
Russ,
be
you
on
might be
mute.
muted.
I think you're on mute, Russ.
Sorry. Okay. I think you've started the same lineup the last couple or the two exhibition games. Have you been pleased with that combination, how they've meshed and started off the game and so forth?
Yeah. I've always been way less concerned with who starts the game and way more concerned with, who finishes the game. I don't put a ton of stock in starting lineup. You got to put 5 guys out there, and we've been going since June 5th and just made the decision that those would be the first 5 guys. And I thought they've done a good job getting us off to a good start.
Thank you.
Matt.
Pat, last year you guys warmed up for the regular season with a pair of D3 exhibitions. This year it's a pair of D1s, and one was against a top 25 opponent. How much do you think that shift in, I guess, exhibition scheduling philosophy, how much do you think that has helped prepare for the regular season compared to this time last year?
Yeah, I think it's a good trend. Most of us in the coaching profession, I won't speak for everybody, but I feel like it's kind of common amongst coaches that we'd like to be able to play more scrimmages or exhibitions. I mean, early June is when all these teams come together, and you don't play anybody until like end of October, November, whether it's in that 6 weeks. That's a long 6 weeks. That's 42 days before your first game when official practice starts and the NCAA expands your hours from 8 hours to 20 hours. And then, at the end of each of those weeks, be able to, I don't know if they're closed. I'd rather the first couple be closed just so you can screw up and, do some cool stuff with coaches and doing special situations and all that. But whatever the case, it'd be nice to be able to, I don't know how they do it. I mean, I've had some conversations with coaches, and I think some of us talked at the spring meetings about, maybe you make it like a regional thing from, expensive standpoint, because every Division I team in the country doesn't have the same budget. Like maybe you make it within a certain number of miles, like Kentucky schools can play against each other or something. But at the end of each week or once every 2 weeks in those 6 weeks, it would be nice to be able to scrimmage and play somebody else. I like that we're able to play Power 5 schools. I like that we're able to play Division I schools. Having said that, there's some Division II and NAIA and D3 schools that, man, that really helps them. It helps their budget to be able to, and it helps recruiting for them to be able to go play a Louisville or something like that. But we really get more out of it when it's a Division I school.
Brooks.
Yeah, you mentioned Javon being one of the captains. I'm just curious who the other guys are heading into the season that were no captain.
So the guys that were elected by their peers captain, and I'm a big believer in leadership council too. That's all the upperclassmen, juniors and seniors, because some of these guys, didn't get the same number of votes these other guys did. I really rely on the juniors and seniors to be leaders. So the 4 is Javon Hadley, Ryan Conwell, Ali Khalifa, and Kobe Rodgers. Those were the 4 guys that were voted by their peers.
Anything else for Coach Kelsey? All right. Well, thank you all for joining us on a Sunday afternoon, and we will see you tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.